Before the arenas, before the awards.
This is b4Nashville Live. Question for a guest.
Send it to us via messenger.
Here's your host, George Davis.
And hello, how's everybody doing on this Thursday night as we get close to Christmas? Oh, this time of the year is really rough just because I don't have time to do anything. So I haven't got any Christmas shopping done yet. I got to get on that. But anyway, I do have a kind of a Christmas present for you, and I am super excited because I have a young lady on here. You're going to recognize the name, and hopefully soon you'll recognize her. But she is, if you saw my Instagram post, as I view it, country music royalty. She is a princess of country music. And if you guys would give it up for Tyler Reese Tritt. Hi, Tyler.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going good. It's like you said, it's Christmas time. I feel like I don't got time to do nothing.
I hear you. Trust me, I hear you. It's like forever ending of trying to get something done. Sorry, I got to adjust my mic here. It's looking a little off center. There we go. Either that or my head's on crooked. I don't know which one, but so we'll get into in a minute just briefly about the country music royalty thing. I think people can kind of figure it out if they pay attention to your name. So you're not related to Bonnie Tyler. You're not related to Reese Witherspoon, but you do have a very royalty related last name as far as country music goes. But let's start it off with about you. You know, you were born in Powder Springs, Georgia. Mm-hmm. You grew up in country music. I mean, that was all that was going on for you because of the family.
That's all I've ever grown up around. That's all I've ever known.
So
country music, good old country music.
What was it like growing up in the Tritt household?
Oh gosh. I mean, it was in a lot of ways it was pretty normal. I mean, granted, we did get to do different kind of things like go on the bus with dad sometimes. And, if we weren't too busy with school or we had a couple breaks, we got to go out on the road with him and kind of experience being, seeing what that life on the road basically is like. And we got to do that at a really young age. And just going to all these shows and meeting all these people. So that was definitely a different experience. And we were very fortunate to be able to do that. But growing up, like being in the house and everything, it was just like any other family. Like dad thinks he's the funniest dad alive, has the most horrible dad jokes. I love him, but they're bad. And my mom's loving, but super crazy. Like, both of them. Just crazy fun childhood, honestly.
Right. I wondered if his dad jokes were a little bit higher. What's the word I'm looking for here? Quality than most, but
I don't know about that one. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
I get that. I hear that. So, I mean, you just really became, I mean, you were so well-rounded. You were like playing piano at a young age. You're into gymnastics. You got a black belt in karate. Listen, guys, if you date her, don't F with her because she'll whoop your ass.
I will. I will.
And to top it all off, she's from Georgia, so that you put the two together.
Dangerous combination, very, very dangerous combination.
So, how old were you when you started singing and realizing that you loved to sing?
I was running around the house singing at 3 years old. Dad and mom told me. And my favorite Disney princess of all time was Ariel. So I'd be going around the house screaming, "Part of Your World." I'm thinking I'm singing. Apparently, I was screaming at the top of my lungs. And, like, you know, I'd have them play it over and over and over again so I could just keep hearing it. And they're like, "Tyler, aren't you getting sick of this? We're definitely getting sick of this." And then I got a little bit older and I just didn't stop. You know, I was a little songbird. I'm always singing around the house and yeah, just singing every chance I got. So I think they caught on pretty quick. They were like, "Oh yeah, this is what she's gonna want to do."
Do you still sing a lot around the house, like when you're doing chores and stuff?
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh yeah. And I could tell I'm getting annoying, like, because I'm, you know, doing laundry or cooking or cleaning. Because my brother would be like, "Tyler, shut up." I'm like, "I'm sorry." Like, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "I'm just, trying different stuff, just, having fun."
That's just
Brother,
crazy, though. I mean, that's amazing. So at 14, you went into the studio for the first time, and you and Dad hooked up on a collaboration.
yeah.
And
Almost
I'm not
thought
gonna. I'm sorry.
I said I almost thought I was gonna quit music.
Oh,
I thought that was gonna be my first and my last experience. I used to think, "Oh my God, this is all I want to do," and I went into the studio for the first time to do that duet with Dad, and I was like, "What the hell is this? I am never like, what is going on right now?" It was like, because Dad don't play. That is one thing, and he was like, "We are gonna sit here until you get this right." And we worked over and over and over again. Mom goes, "Bless your heart." She goes, "At one point, you'd been in there for hours just singing the same thing over and over and over again." And I look over at Mom, and she goes, "You got those big old eyes." And she goes, "You just look at me and your nose was pink and you had tears coming out of your eyes." Because I was just like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore." And the sound engineer was like, "We can just hit one little button and fix what it is you're wanting her to fix." And my dad was like, "No, like, she's going to do this. She's going to practice and she's going to do it right." So I had spent basically more time in the studio than what I was supposed to, which ended up costing money. So all the money that I made, or not all the money, but the first few bucks that I made going out on tour with Dad and working, he made me pay him back for all the studio time that I missed. So it was a very, very good lesson for me. But I was like, so now I feel like I have like PTSD in the studio. I'm like, "All right, we got to get in and get out, guys. Like, we got to be quick." But yeah, no, that was gonna make or break me right there, because yeah, it was a very long experience, but it was so much fun.
yeah. I mean,
Once we
I can see
finally
that because your dad, when he got into music, there was no auto tune, and I could see him thinking in his mind, she ain't using auto tune. She's
he
gonna
did.
do
That's
this
exactly
with
what he said. He was like, "I'm not Pro Tool. She's not going to be Pro Tool. Period." I was like, "Okay, all right."
Did you know
Which
what Pro Tools were at that time?
No, I had no clue. And I was like, "What does that mean?" And the producer was like, "Literally, I can hit a button, and the thing that he's making you sing over and over again," he goes, "I can fix that in like 2 seconds." My dad was not having it. I went back. He set up like a whole little thing for me to just keep practicing and practicing and practicing. And finally, I got it under control, figured it out, was able to go back into the studio, and it was that was great. Definitely made up for the first time.
Right. Well, and that brings up a question that I'll ask a little bit later on, because I've got some more. I want to kind of go through a little bit of a life timeline for you, but hopefully I'll remember that question, because that, to me, it's a pretty good question. Before we do go any further, speaking of questions, if you do have a question for Tyler, you can send it to us through our Facebook page, and I'll be sure to ask that, and we'll get her to answer that question. Depending on what the question is.
Yeah.
Probably we want to keep this somewhat PG 13, but
13. I was like 13.
It's not a rated R show. PG 13 will be just fine. So the first song, it was a cover. Don Henley
Mhm.
and Patti Smythe recorded it. Sometimes love just ain't enough. I remember that song. Gosh, I just gave my age away, but I do remember that song. Loved it. What was the reason for? Did you pick doing that song, recording that, or did your
No.
dad pick?
It was a weird how it happened. We were on the way to a wedding, my Nana's wedding in Florida, and dad had these new demos that he was doing because he was about to cut a new album, he had new songs, so he's just playing them in the car for all of us to hear, my mom to hear. And sometimes Love Just Ain't Enough came on. And there was just a girl that he had temporarily recorded the song with. She was kind of just like a filler placeholder, and he was looking for like a Winona or a Martina McBride, one of those type of singers to do the duet with, but all those artists had just cut a duet. So he kind of
Right.
just like put it on the shelf, like put it on the back burner. And then we were on the way to that wedding, and I just remember being in the car and I was singing it in the back seat. Every time the girl part would come on, I'd heard the song a few times just being in the car with my mom. So was just singing it over and over again. And every time it ended, I'd be like, Dad, can you play that again? And just kept singing it. So unbeknownst to me, he went to my mom afterwards and he was like, I want to cut this song with Tyler. He's like, I think I want to take her into the studio and do this song with her. And my mom was like, oh my God, I think that's a great idea. And then that's kind of how it all came about. So yeah, it wasn't really a planned thing or anything. He was actually looking for a completely different artist, and it just happened that way.
Well, and little did they know that you were going to practically break him by having to do it over.
Yeah, literally. He probably after that studio, he was like, I've made a very, very poor decision. But no, we had a great time. It was fun.
So, what was school like? What was, let's move on to high school. What was your high school life like? Was it pretty typical? Was there, I mean, by that time, you're probably pretty much into the music, starting to form your own persona, identity as an artist at that point.
Mhm. So I had just done that duet, and I think I was leaving middle school, or maybe I was going into high school freshman. I can't remember what age I was. It's
Hmm.
called kind of like a blur, but yeah, once I got into high school, I don't know. It was like I was still going on tour because of the song, me and dad's duet. So I was missing a good bit of school. And I was not one that liked school to begin with. So I would skip a lot, even on the days that I was home and not on tour. Um, but yeah, I mean, high school for me was pretty normal. I got in trouble for talking all the time. And for skipping, of course. But yeah, I mean, other than having to miss a few days here and there, like I'd go to my teachers beforehand and be like, hey, look, I'm going to be out on the road for a week. Can you just give me whatever schoolwork, homework, anything that y'all are working on in class? I can do it from the bus, or email you, send it to you, or bring it all back when I come back. And yeah, I mean, schooling definitely wasn't my favorite. I still have nightmares now, like long being graduated. I'll wake up in the middle of the night. I'm like, does that test due? Like, oh my God, I forgot to turn in homework. And I'm like, wait, what am I freaking out about? I'm like, okay. But yeah, no, high school for me was like, I feel like it was pretty normal.
So a
My
little
parents were very
PTS
good
for
about
high
it.
school too, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hmm.
So with the touring that you did and all the people that you got to meet and things like that, and growing up in a home of just country music everywhere, who would you say are three people that influenced you in your career?
Oh gosh. I listened to a lot of old school. So Linda Ronstadt, loved just the diversity of her, how she could do rock one minute, and then the next minute she could be doing opera, and then the next minute she could be doing country. So I always really looked up to her. And then Reba, Martina McBride, Faith Hill, Trisha Yearwood, like all those, 90s female singers, just, and and then Carrie Underwood came out, and I loved the powerhouse of, Carrie's voice, and then the sass of Miranda Lambert. So I feel like I kind of just have listened to all these women, who've just inspired me, and I kind of just learn little things and take little things from each one and just, come up with my own sound and make my own thing.
Well, I will say one thing, and folks are going to find out, not so much on this song, although you can tell it, but the song we're going to play here in a little bit, you are definitely a powerhouse vocalist. I mean, you've got the power, you got the lungs and everything. So,
Thank you.
but I mean, you've opened up for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been hard I mean, I know you're trying to make your own name, so you want to, you don't want to piggyback off Dad.
No.
At all. You want people to look at you as Tyler Reese Tritt, not as Travis Tritt's daughter. For those of you who have wondered who we've been talking about, now you know. Not like you couldn't tell it. But has it been difficult to escape that at all?
I mean, yeah, there's definitely been pros and there's been cons. You get a lot of people that will come up and be like, hey, just so you know, like I've seen your dad's show, you better be just as good, or, you better do him proud. And I'm just like, well, stick around and find out, let me know after the show what you think. I really have been fortunate to not have too many people say too many things, but of course, you always get the like Nepo baby and, whatever. But sometimes I feel like for me, that just means I need to work twice as hard to, prove these people wrong. And,
right.
Like I knew going into it, Dad has a big shadow, big shoes to fill, but instead I could have looked at it two ways. I could have looked at it and been intimidated by it, or I could have let that push me to work even harder, to not necessarily even get out of his shadow, but like, just make my own. And because I don't want to deny him, like I love my dad, and I would be lying if I said that having him as my dad and having my name hasn't helped me significantly in some ways and open doors that may not have opened for other people, or if I didn't have this name. But no, in a lot of ways I feel like it's really just caused me to work even harder and just to prove myself.
And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I know other artists, and I'm not saying that that's what they were doing, but there's a female artist that I know, and she wanted to make it on her own, so she didn't use the last name. And I mean, she's a great artist. She has done well for herself, and now she's decided, well, let's go ahead and put it out there. First time I saw her, somebody told me who she was, and they go, but she doesn't want anybody to know. And then it was probably 4 months later, she's like, I'm going to put it out as to who I am and all that stuff. So it's kind of, you probably do. I just don't want to say it because I don't want to offend her in any way.
No, exactly. No.
Yeah.
No. And if it's what I think we're
the show religiously. Your dad and her probably sit outside at night, drinking a cup, watching my show. So I can only win.
Oh.
But you've gotten to be on the stage with a lot of people, and again, you said that was kind of a little bit of both. There's a little bit of that name recognition. who have you been on stage with that you have enjoyed your time with them the most, aside from your dad? Because it sounds like you and your dad have such a great time, you know.
There was specifically where I was up on stage and I really just had to take a step back because I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm up here with all these amazing, just legends, honestly, artists. And it was the Charlie Daniels Jam, volunteer jam at Bridgestone Arena.
Yeah.
And me and dad had gone out, we'd done the duet, I thought I was done. I went back to the dressing room. I kicked off my shoes, my feet. I had big old hooker heels on. My feet were killing me. So I went back in the dressing room, kicked those off, and I was kind of just chilling, thinking I'm done for the night. And my brother comes running back, and he's like, Tyler, they're calling you. They're calling you on stage. And I go, who's calling me on stage? I'm like, it's the end of the show. They're like, yeah, they're all going back up to jam. They're all asking where you're at. They want you to come sing background vocals. So I'm like, oh my God. So I'm throwing on my shoes, I'm running up on stage. I finally make it on stage. They're already singing, they've already started the first song. So I'm just standing up there and we didn't rehearse it. So it's a jam. So I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? Looking at Uncle Charlie's, one of his background vocalists, Miss Carolyn, and we're standing there and, oh my gosh, I just looking at her and I was like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? And she was like, just follow my lead. We got this. And I'm like, okay, bet. And I remember just standing back at 1 minute and Chris Stapleton's right here. Kid Rock's right here. Uncle Charlie is standing there. Dad's right here. Luke, like everybody, like all these people who I had listened to forever were looking around and I was young and I was just like, oh my God, like, how did I get up here? Like, this is crazy. And that was one of the, and and my Uncle Charlie, I have so much love for him, and my dad and Uncle Bob, Kid Rock, like everybody that was up on stage. And I'm just like, wow, like that was probably one of the moments that it was really, really, it was amazing.
Wow. It's so cool to hear you call them uncle, and, I mean, that's no offense, but it's such a Southern thing. I mean, that's what we do in the South. If it's somebody close to us, it doesn't matter if they're blood or not, it's like, it's uncle.
Yeah, they're family, 100%. They've been around since I was little. Your uncle, your aunt.
Right. And the Mr. and Miss thing, I mean, I that's something that my kids grew up doing, and and it's kind of neat. You're a songwriter as well.
I am.
Right?
I am.
What is the song that you have told yourself, damn it, why didn't I write that?
Dang, there's so many that I listen to that I'm like, dang, why didn't I write that? House That Built Me. Miranda Lambert, House That Built Me. And that song is just such a great song. And a lot of people don't know that it just sat around, doing nothing for like 10 plus years in Nashville until Miranda found it and, took it. But that just blew my mind because I was like, that's such an amazing song. And it took that long, to get it out there. But yeah, no, that's the song that I heard. I think a lot of artists heard that and they were like, God, why did I write that song? Like, it's just amazing.
Right.
Beautiful story.
I can't remember who wrote that. Was it
oh, you just asked and the name just went right out of my head.
It was a female that wrote it.
Yeah.
Like Natalie, or was it Natalie Hemby that wrote it?
That sounds really familiar. I almost want to look it up. I'm like,
that's exactly what I'm doing.
oh, perfect.
So let's see what the ever famous Google has to say. Actually, no, it was written by two guys.
Oh.
Tom Douglas and Alan Shamblin.
Okay. Yep. That's what. Yep. Okay.
No. I really thought that was written by like Natalie or Gosh.
You said that, and I was like, that sounded so familiar. But yeah, no.
Yeah. I thought either her or, and gosh, her name escapes me now, but she wrote Tim McGraw's Humble and Kind. It'll come to me at some point
Hmm.
because I was there when she received the BMI award for that song. Um,
Aw.
and gosh, I can't remember. But anyway, I don't want to get stuck on that. I'll be obsessing about that all night long. Um,
It'll hit
so
you.
you, you had your first show, your first sold out show in South Carolina. How old were you when that show sold out?
16, maybe. I think I was like 16, 17. Yeah. I was super, super nervous. Really, really nervous. I remember walking out on stage and I was holding the mic like this. And the mic, it would not stop shaking. And then my legs wouldn't stop shaking. And my dad just looked over and he was like, hey, take a deep breath. It's going to be fine. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It's going to be fine. We're going to be fine. But I just remember looking out and it was like a never ending sea of people. And I was like, this is crazy. And I'd never, like that's my first show. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, good Lord, y'all just gonna feed me to the wolves, like right off the bat. Like, trial by fire, I guess. So,
Right.
but I mean, it was
That
a
that's
really good experience.
yeah. I mean, that is so cool. Um, I'm just looking over your bio here. There's a couple of things in there I wanted to kind of look at and maybe touch on for a second. You so far 2023 has been a good year for you. You've had a
Been a
lot of
very
stuff
good.
going on. Touring, has that been how many days a year do you tour, say by yourself, not
Oh,
without
wow.
without your band?
That's tough. This year we really didn't do it. We had a lot of one-offs this year.
Mhm.
But I mean, I think, I'm a firm believer and there's a reason for everything. And a lot of
Mhm.
gigs that we're already getting booked for next year have come from some of the one-off gigs that we've been doing this year. So already next year is looking way more booked than this past year. But yeah, like up until before COVID and even a little after, I mean, I was doing, I want to say a little less than 100 shows, maybe 100 shows. I don't know an exact number, but I mean, I was gone. I was busy a lot.
That's quite a bit. I mean, did you have any time with your dad during that time, or is that just your solo shows? So you were out on the
That
road a lot more than that?
I did a few shows with dad. Kind of after COVID, I would go out before COVID, I'd go out on the road with my dad all the time. And then after COVID, I was like, I need to start going off on my own, opening for other artists. But I,
Mhm.
of course, still love doing shows with my dad. So I was like, I didn't want to scratch them completely. I'm like, but we just need to minimize them. So maybe do like 4 or 8 a year. So like this year, I think we only had maybe like 4 gigs together, maybe 6, maybe. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, no, we've opened for some Rodney Atkins, we got Little Texas, the list goes on and on. We've been very, very fortunate.
Right. Um, what is the one venue that you've been in so far that has been your favorite? And I'll say this because I don't know if you have, but like besides the Grand Ole Opry and the Ryman, what outside of those? Because we all know that, especially the Ryman, the Mother Church. I mean, if an artist has been there and they don't say that one, just go get you a job at Harbor Freight and call it done.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, definitely the Ryman, because I was very fortunate to play the Ryman at a very, very young age. So I love the Ryman, but I was just recently, I can't remember. They all the dates run to me, but I remember it was this beautiful, beautiful theater, and it was like it had like a bunch of Greek statues, but like it was just the most. I remember walking in for sound check and I just stopped and I was like, this is the most beautiful theater I've ever seen in my life. And then of course I'm a big like I love like the hauntings of and like, you know, the ghost stories and stuff. So they were telling me that it was haunted and, you know, just telling stories about all the crazy stuff that happens, you know, when they're locking up and everything. But I wish I could remember the name of that theater. I could be able to pull it up in my camera roll, I'm sure, and would because I took so many pictures of it.
Yeah.
But I just had never seen a theater so beautiful. I think it might have been in Kentucky, maybe, or yeah, it might have been Louisville. I think it was Louisville.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a wild guess.
Take a stab at it and see what happens.
Yeah, take a stab at it. Could be very wrong, but
right. Now you, again, I'm not going to talk about your voice as far as the power and stuff because we're kind of at that point in the show where I want to play a song and then we're going to come back and we'll talk about it, the backstory and things like that, and just find out some more. And I'll give my critique, which I've already heard it, but it's still, you know, I still like to do that. So we'll do that real quick. And this is, what in the world? I don't know who this is. Somebody's sending messages and I have no idea who this is. We're going to be blocking that person because I don't know what they're talking about here. Keep it PG, people. That's what we're already telling you. Get out of here. There, we'll get rid of them. All right. So we're going to play Tyler's song, and it's called Texas Hold'em. And a nice little play for you poker folks out there that like to play poker. Nice little play on words. And we'll do that. Then we'll be back to talk with Tyler here in just a second. So here's Tyler Reese Tritt with Texas Hold'em.
Midnight taillights, car packed up like a thief in the night in a quiet rush. Goodbye, my love, leaving us at the deadline. Bet you don't know and you don't deserve the way it's gonna hurt when you finally learn I'm gone. I've known too long his arms ain't where I belong. Texas Hold'em, and keep him under your sky, 'cause I'm leaving and I'm needing all the help I can get tonight. If he follows, won't you slow him down? 'Cause if I see his face, I know I'll turn around. Don't you let him go till I get where I'm going. Texas Hold'em, yeah. It's probably gonna hit me in Texarkana, looking in the rear view, thinking I can't. You're so much stronger than I am. If you ever were my friend, Texas Hold'em, and keep him under your sky, 'cause I'm leaving and I'm needing all the help I can get tonight. If he follows, won't you slow him down? 'Cause if I see his face, I know I'll turn around. Don't you let him go till I get where I'm going. Texas Hold'em, yeah. They midnight is hell. We want to fly. If he breaks down, if he should cry, Texas Hold'em, keep him under your sky, 'cause I'm leaving and I'm needing all the help I can get tonight. Yeah. If he follows, won't you slow him down? 'Cause if I see his face, I know I'll turn around. Don't you let him go till I get where I'm going. Texas Hold'em,
All right. That was Tyler Reese Tritt with Texas Hold'em. The only problem with that song for me, because I've been listening to it the past couple of days, it's just not long enough.
Oh, you're so sweet. You just made my day.
I wanted it to go a little longer, and I mean, it's been on repeat. And by the way, it will be on the b4Nashville playlist on Spotify right after the show. So, well, yeah, should be, hopefully. I'm having some phone issues, and I have to do that through my phone. So I may not be able to because I have a different phone. I hate that. It just sucks. But if it's not on there right after, we will get it on. I promise you that we'll get it on, because that I've got to say that ranks up there with one of the best songs from a independent artist. And I mean, you're still independent. You don't have a contract. You're still out doing the thing on your own. And that's what I consider indies. And if you do have a contract, fantastic. You know,
I don't. You're right. You're up there. You're right.
But that has got to be one of the best songs that I've heard. And not just from independent artists. I mean, that's one of the best songs, period, I've heard. I think the story is. Now, were you the co-writer on that? Was that a sole you writing that?
No,
Or
Jada Dreyer. She's a known artist around
Yes.
Nashville. Yeah, very, very, very talented. And she and her team sent me just a plethora of amazing songs. And I went through and listened to them, and two of them stuck out to me, which was Porch Light, which I released earlier in the year before Texas Hold'em, and then Texas Hold'em. And she sent me those songs, and, you know, I was going through exactly what the song Texas Hold'em is talking about when she sent that to me. Like, I had just a few months prior to her sending me those songs, I was in Texas, like, trying to make things work with my ex. Of all the places, I'm like, Texas? Like, so then she sent me this song, and it was Texas Hold'em, and I'm like, what? I'm like, that is crazy. Like, that's not a coincidence for me. So, and then after listening to the words, I was like, oh my God, like, I could have wrote this song. Like, she just said in this song, everything that I'm feeling, everything, you know. So after listening to it, I was like, oh, I messaged her back immediately. I was like, yeah, this is my song. Don't give this song to anybody else. This is my song.
I want that with dibs.
I did. I was like, double dibs.
That's so cool, though. I mean, I love Jada. I mean, I remember her and the music that she put out. And so she's writing now, and she sends this to you. Was it in a demo form, or did she just send you the lyrics?
It was a demo form of her singing it, and she, you know, she sounded amazing. And it's actually Jada doing all of my background vocals in Texas Hold'em and in Porch Light.
Oh my goodness.
She came in after me, and she was like, I would love to do her background vocals. And of course I was like, absolutely. Like, first off, you wrote the song, and then on top of that, you have a killer voice. I'm like, absolutely, come in and, you know, work your magic. And she did. And after hearing, you know, I'd only heard the demo up until then with just my voice. So when they sent me, you know, with her doing the background vocals, I was like, my God, I was like, that just made it 10 times better.
You feel like at that point, yeah, there's going to be an RIAA multi-platinum plaque coming in.
I was like, this is it. This is it. This is amazing. We've got gold.
When we were playing that, my buddy Skip Clark, who is up in New York, he said, sounds great. I don't know if you've talked to Skip yet or not, but he's in radio up in I don't want to say upstate New York, because I'll be wrong if I do until he tells me otherwise. But he is in New York, so and then he has a podcast. So I'll give his people your people's information, and you guys can hook up. How's that?
Absolutely.
He may already have you on the docket. I have no idea. We talk, but Syracuse, yeah, he's in Syracuse. I started to say Syracuse, and then I thought, no, I'm going to be wrong. I know it starts with an S, and it's going to be something else, So,
Hey, well, I do
but
love New York.
he's on the Wolf in Syracuse, and the
Oh,
program director there.
that's awesome.
So, and thanks, Skip, for tuning in and watching. We try to support each other as much as possible.
Thank you.
So you let me ask you this. You've been touring for a long time. This is one of those kind of inside questions. What when you're touring, what are 3 things that you cannot leave the house without?
Ooh. When I'm touring, I have to, well, gosh. Oh, that's so hard. I mean, aside from clothes, makeup, and like the necessities, I always carry, just to have on backup just in case, the Ricola cough drops. I'll do the one, like, sometimes I'll mix it up, sometimes I'll do the honey one, sometimes I'll do like the different flavor ones, but I always keep those on hand just in case. Try not to leave without those. What else do I not leave without? Oh gosh, gum. Always have to have gum because I like to chew right before I go on stage. What else? Gum, Ricola drops, and depending on if I'm on my desk or not, earplugs and blindfold when I sleep. Because there's no bunk, so I'm on the couch and the sun comes streaming in, and parents, they do not care if you are asleep. Like when my parents are sleeping, I'm like as quiet as a mouse doing every little thing, but no, let us be passed out somewhere downstairs. They're like moving everything around, making all kinds of noise. I'm like, damn, like we were sleeping. Hello.
They're like rearranging the whole upstairs and you're trying to sleep,
Literally, I'm like doing construction over here, and I'm like, I was sleeping very soundly. So yeah, getting and blindfold was a great investment, especially for the bus, because it has helped me. I've been able to gain a few extra hours, so that is lovely.
Oh, that's awesome. So beside playing in some of these venues, have you done a lot of festivals?
Yes, I have. I love festivals. Those, if I could pick favorites, festivals are hands down my favorite.
Really? What makes them so special over like an indoor venue?
You cut out. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Oh, is it what makes a festival so much more special than an indoor venue?
Oh, I don't know. It's like, it's definitely different vibes. I feel like, theaters and, the buildings is definitely more intimate, but the energy and, just because, as an artist, you feed off your crowd, and there's just something about festivals, like every festival I've gone to, no matter big or small, the energy and the vibes. And I guess too, because you're outside and it's summertime and everyone's just happy and wanting to dance and drink and enjoy each other's company, and everyone's just having a good time. So I feel like all of it's great, but the energy at the festivals are just, for me, they're just so different and they're so much fun.
Right. That's the thing. I mean, I'm don't misunderstand me. I like a good festival. I'll be honest with you. A good festival is so much better than being in a club, and just hanging out there and enjoying,
Well, yeah, everyone's in the grass. You got room to move around.
So, all right, here comes one of the questions I love to ask because it's kind of funny. If people are honest, I think I've had some artists who've not been totally honest about this.
Oh,
What is your most embarrassing stage moment?
Oh God. I have been fortunate enough. I haven't had one yet, but I've had several. I'm sure there's several videos that you can go back and look at where I either trip over my own self because I'm just that dumb, So like no nothing, there's no flat surface, like it's a flat surface, there's nothing there to trip me up. I just trip my own self up. And there's been a few times, you know, I've been walking back or walking forward, and I'm just so focused.
Uh-oh. She cut out there. Hang on. She'll be back. This happens. I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but we'll get it figured out. Well, technology is such a wonderful thing. I'm telling you. Come on. We take her off and try putting her. That's probably not going to help. Well, something's happened and Tyler's not there, and we're not going to leave until we get her back on because I don't want to end this thing. But be sure to go check her out, check out her music and stuff, and I'll be talking to her about her website and stuff like that as well here in a minute. And looks like she just went out on us here. Maybe she'll hop back on. We'll stay here and see if she does. This is one of those frustrating things about doing this, but I love doing it anyway. I'm so sorry. Please don't leave. Just bear with us. We'll get this back on track. She'll pop back in and we'll be good to go. All right. So just hang on. Nobody go anywhere. All right. You can check out the podcast on Spotify, and also it's on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, it's on YouTube right now live. And Skip in the Glass is actually salted caramel Crown Royal. So, and the glass was sent to me by friends at, if you can see that, I don't know if you can see the etching on there. Some friends at Bold Marketing. Thanks to them for those. And it is actually pretty good. Lisa and I were discussing that earlier, and she goes, "You're not going to drink that without putting it in something, are you?" And I'm going, "Yeah, sure, why not?" I had some bourbon in the liquor cabinet, but I didn't even pull it out. I just thought, well, I'll just drink this, and it's not bad at all. I don't know about the ice. We're going to shoot for that. I don't know if we're going to make it or not, but we're going to give it a try. We may just have to crash the party. Unless you're talking about Tyler. You may be talking about Tyler. If you're talking about Tyler, I'm wondering if she's going to be there or not. And we're not getting her back on. Shoot. And well, you know how it goes. Yeah, hopefully we will see her. Radius, my sound guy buddy, is on here. Hey, Radius, how you doing, bud? Kind of having some issues right now. Apparently, I'm wondering. I don't know if she was on her phone or if she was on her computer, but I'm wondering if a battery didn't die because she's not there. And generally, she would try to get back on. So we may have to redo this on another day and see if we can't get things taken care of. Just kind of do a makeup of it's not like a radio show. I mean, I don't have enough songs to where I can even put on a radio show. Well, the Christmas tree's upstairs, and I'm thinking about putting my cardinal tree in, and putting it down here. So I will have to do that this weekend. The wife has the snowman tree up, and then we have the big tree up. Radius, I'm not even going to repeat that because my wife is probably watching, and I'm going to get you and I both in trouble, which she can see it anyway, just so you know. So she's liable to chime in here any minute now. 4 trees, good grief. Where do you have them all? We have one in the kitchen and one in the front room. and then I'll put the cardinal tree in the studio, which is my St. Louis cardinal tree. I'll put that here in the studio. So we'll have 3. They're all in the living room. Goodness. Okay. Well, of course, Zach's got to have his own. I mean, come on, it wouldn't be Christmas without a Zach attack tree. I mean, come on. We all know that. Everybody that knows Zach and loves Zach knows that he's very deserving of that. So that's kind of cool. The back porch. Huh. That's it. We'll have Lisa actually talked about putting one on the front porch of our house. And I don't know that she's talked herself out of that. We have several small ones down in the basement. And then we have our youngest daughter's tree down here. Oh, it's enclosed. Okay. But that one's too tall. It's like 6.5 feet tall. We won't do that. But we have a couple of like 4-foot trees that she had mentioned, maybe putting one out on the front porch. And quite honestly, if somebody comes along and takes it, then obviously they need it more than we do. Not to mention we have 3 more, so they're welcome to it. Just take the ornaments off and leave them. All right, at least do that much. Oh, you're getting snow. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I like snow, but I like it closer to Christmas. I'm almost one of these people that snow on Christmas Day and then it goes. Excuse me. Well, oh goodness. Well, I'm going on the assumption that Tyler's not going to make it back on. So I will reach back out to her team and see if we can't get something reconnected, and we'll do this again. And in the meantime, Skip, I'll send you her team's info. She's actually with Aristo, I think, Media. And maybe you can get her on if she comes out. She's with her dad quite a bit. So if they come out and do a show out there, maybe you can get her, on the podcast prior to or something. I have this tickle that is not going to go away. Oh, I would love to go. Oh my gosh, that would be awesome. I've seen her dad, and we were talking earlier, actually, the guy that is his drum tech, I had on the show, and shortly after that, they played here in Cape, and we went and saw Dawson, and didn't get to meet Travis. We weren't hooked up to meet him, but Dawson is a super cool guy. Dawson Edwards. He's also a writer and an artist himself. And I asked him today if he was still with Travis, and he said he was. And I told him Tyler was coming on. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'll send you the information, and I'll have Taylor reach out to you. Maybe you guys can get something worked out. Get her on. That song is amazing. I mean, it needs to be getting play. It really does. It needs to be on the air. I know they just released it not too long ago, but it needs to be getting some serious working and serious play. So, all right. Well, I'm going to jump off here because apparently we've had something happen, and we will get back on. I will email her folks, and then I'll let you know when we're going to do it again. But thanks everybody for hanging out and at least waiting to see if she came back. You guys have a great night, and we'll see you Monday. Sound good? All right.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to follow B4Nashville on all social media and listen wherever you get your podcasts. Tune in again for another country star of tomorrow on Before Nashville with George Davis. I'm Kevin Casey on behalf of Worldwide Pants. Have a great night.